I'm very I'm very happy to be here and to meet all of you. So I think if you can, I would like to encourage you to turn on your video if it's possible, so then we can have a bit more like interaction, like throughout the session. So please turn on your video, because I think based on my personal experience, if I don't turn my video, then I tend to to look at many different things. And I think the idea of this session is not I teach you that, but we discuss together. And I'm very excited to meet all of you. I've learned about your profile, and congratulations of all the innovation that you have done, especially for the environment and how you combine it in your business. So I wanted to learn more from you, and this is really like more an interactive discussion. So as Claire mentioned earlier, what we are going to discuss today is about like how we embed environmental sustainability in business operation. I believe that you have already applied environmental sustainability in your business operation, but that's not the idea. So let's find out what will be the idea of today's session. First of all, I would like to invite all participants to basically go to slido.com, and then you enter the number there, or otherwise I would like to invite you to just scan the barcode, and then I would like you to respond to this. What is value mapping in the context of business sustainability? So maybe I could also start from my side, because I really want to know what you know about value mapping in the context of business sustainability. So please, I hope that you can find the barcode, or otherwise you go to slido.com and enter the numbers under, they're under. Just check myself also. What is value mapping? How do you know about value mapping? It's okay if you don't know, you can mention, I've never heard. What is value mapping? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone more before we turn to the next slides? This is very interesting because it really gives me an idea about how you learn about the term, because it could be that you already applied this, but you're not familiar with the term, so. Okay. Core value business. Nice. Okay, that's great. Okay, then more or less it's very interesting just to see, how you think about value mapping, and we will find out how important it is for your business. So let's go to the next slides. Yes, as I think I mentioned in the email, we learn. So I know all of you is very busy, but so thanks so much for allocating your time to attend this session. I think at this stage we have to be on the same page. So I put the word we learned, but then the idea that what you learned today will really help you to earn more. And so the idea is like, please put your attention here to learn, we discuss together, and then these lessons will help you to earn more. So I think this kind of like sit with like entrepreneurs that like always think that time is money. So I hope that this session will help you to earn more. And what we are going to discuss today is about, first, what is sustainable value? So I think before we think about value mapping, we need to always think about what is sustainable value. What we need to think about sustainable value and apply it to my business operation. I think this is very important to kind of like to start with. And the second one, we are going to go into value mapping tool, which we will refer to the Cambridge value mapping tool. And the last one is new opportunities to design a sustainable business. Yeah, maybe before we go to the next slides, any question or anyone wants to intervene?
So far, no questions in the chat.
No question. Yeah, again, so please turn on your camera, so then, you know, I think it's a nicer way to kind of like see each other. Next one, so I'm going to invite you to also discuss why we need to explore value, as we know that we are running a business, and you know, like when every time we run a business, there are value that we cross, you know, like in each stage of the business. So as you can see here, that, you know, like this is kind of like how you run your business. You pass through like processes. You try to produce products or services, and then, you know, you have like what we call like business models. So that's why it's kind of like very important for an entrepreneur to already determine what type of business model I would like to kind of like shape the business operation that I'm running. You're all a leader here. You're all like, you know, you're like the manager. You are the determinant of the existence of your business. So I believe that the concept of value is if you are not familiar with that, I believe that you have already, you know, like this kind of like cross-path value embedded in you as a leader in your business. So you have value to society, at the same time you have value to business. So this is like kind of like a process. You produce products or services, and then you are familiar with business models. Maybe, you know, like just to make it a bit more interactive, because I really don't like if it's like monotone. So maybe as I see Adugna, you're like turning on your camera. So I feel that I'm only talking to you, honestly, because at least you are the only one that I can see. So would be great to kind of like learn from you, like what do you think about business model, and what type of business model that you have already applied in your company? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. You know, in short, the business model that I'm applying is end-to-end. In my engagement in my integrated farm, I have, you know, the outgrower scheme on one way of about 1,000 plus smallholder farmers. And I have the clients whom I supply my high quality seed products. And I have also transporters in the meantime that delivers my product to the customers that have that my product, I mean my company, won the bid already. So I understand in this way the business model when it is customized into my business.
Thank you. And thank you also for kind of like, you know, like stating that each business has its own business model. That's really true. And, you know, there is no kind of like formulation, what is actually, you know, like the best formulation in terms of setting up business models. I must say that there is no such formulation, because every business model has to be tailored into specific business that you run or you lead. Okay, and then, you know, like we all know that, you know, we have value to business that we are aiming to when we lead our business, and then we also realize that we have value to society that, you know, we are kind of like bringing forward. Yeah, so it's not only value to business, but also value to society. Taken a small example, it's like when you employ your employee, you know, like without you realize or not, you kind of like engage the value to society, because you need to, for instance, you need to to be aware and to be in compliance, hopefully, with like labor standards and how you protect your employee and etc. So let's go to the next slide. And for the next slide, we are going to talk about sustainable value. So I am, as you know, I think it's not really like something unfamiliar. I hope that everybody talk about sustainable development, and I think now everything has to have sustainable, like as kind of like mandatory, like attraction, you have to put like sustainable seed, sustainable, like products, sustainable services, and etc. But actually, when you think about sustainable value, we can see from 3 different perspectives. It's aligned with like how you think about sustainable development. The first one is sustainable economic value, and then sustainable environmental value, and the last one is sustainable social value. You can see in the screen, I think I should not just like, like explaining one by one how you kind of like think and how you arrange and you embed each of these group of value into your business model. Sustainable economic value, what you really think, mainly or like in general, company will go into profit, and then of course afterwards they are thinking about growth and then return on investment, so of course you have like the rights, and also you have like you have rights, and also you have like priority which value under the sustainable economic value that you want to embed, and also depends on the time. If you just set up, you just establish a company, maybe you are just focused on profit, for instance. But then jumping to the next group of value, you have also sustainable environmental value, which at the moment, fortunately, with the growing interest of sustainable development, sustainability, and all related issues, that people, kind of like have to include this environmental value into the business to make the business attractive to clients, for instance, or because they really care about the environment, because otherwise their business will be impacted by the environmental degradation if they don't care about environment. Yeah, so you can see also some indicators or some value under the sustainable environmental value. For those who just participate in our course, I would really encourage you to turn on your camera so I don't feel lonely here. And yeah, we try to normalize this kind of like digital knowledge transfer. And then the third one is sustainable social value. I think this is something that you are familiar with, like fair labor standards and practices, and then well-being, health, community development. So yeah, I hope that after you see this, you are just not familiar with the terms, but I think and I believe that each of you have already embedded, the kind of like mix of economic value, environmental value, and social value for your business model. And okay, sorry. Yeah, so now the next question will be, why sustainable value? So as mentioned earlier, that it is hard. There is no formulation about which type of value that will be suitable to your business. But we can set up different value that we can, to produce a sustainable business model. A business model that is sustainable, a business model that is not stagnant, a business model that will lead you to kind of like growth in your company. It's called sustainable business model. That's why at the beginning, I kind of like also asked, what is value mapping in the context of, like sustainable business, like how you find opportunities, but also how you find what is actually the drawbacks of value that you have embedded in your business, and etc. And there is no structured approach to think about sustainable value, because sustainable value, it always develop, every day, every time, over time. What you think about kind of like combination of different value groups in your business model, for the moment that you think that this is a sustainable business model, the type of value, it can change in like about a year. For instance, there are different environments, like I think a very easy example is COVID pandemic. No, I think like you already said, like this is sustainable business model, and then there is a global pandemic that hit everybody. And then it kind of like changed how you think about sustainable business model, change for everyone. And there are no useful processes or tools for sustainable business innovation. I think for this is like you need to always think, you need to always innovate. I think the term innovation, it's always so important for business. There is no sort of like stagnant process or tools if you are aiming at sustainable innovation, because it's always moving. That's why I think being an entrepreneur, you need to always like being like very active, energetic, and always forward looking. And then when we think about inclusion of widen stakeholder group, this is also what is so important when you think about value, how you want to embed this different value into your business model. You need to include different multiple stakeholders. You need to consider those stakeholders that basically affect your company operation: investor, employee, operators, suppliers, customers, environment, society. I think these are types of stakeholders that you have to always bear in mind when you try to tailor different values embedded into your business, so then you can build a sustainable business model. I believe that so maybe I open the floor first to anyone here, to the participants, if you like to share, or otherwise I should maybe a point, or maybe Claire can help me to point because you know them better. Just to kind of like tell us, have you already considered these stakeholders when you set up like sustainable, like business model for your company? Have you considered them? Have you considered the environment? Have you considered customers? Have you considered society? So maybe it's okay. Maybe let's open it to be democratic. Let's open it. Who wants to share a little bit about, your consideration towards those multiple stakeholders when you set up new business opportunity? Be ready, otherwise Claire will will appoint you. Anyone wants to share? Yes,
yes,
Mohammed. You're lucky, Claire.
Thank you very much, Tim, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to share my experience. Yeah, so we are into energy. We recycle waste into energy. Some of these energy solutions we do to, like, we have locally sourced material that are actually environmentally friendly. Let's say, for instance, when we only buy the parts, like the alternator from Alibaba that we import, and all other parts we actually fabricate locally. The blades, we do them locally. The tower for the windmills, the most of the other parts, we get them here. So at the end of the day, we know we are solving. We know wind energy is actually a sustainable energy solution that can actually solve the energy challenge we have in Sierra Leone. We only have 15% energy access. But yet still, how can we solve this problem in a sustainable way, where we have an engagement with we have a department that we call the Environmental Protection Agency. It's an agency here that's responsible for making sure that businesses complied with operations that does not affect the environment while still solving the problem. So we have an engagement with them about how can we actually utilize our solutions to really solve the problem, considering the effects of greenhouse gases, and of course thinking about the poverty line here. Majority of our fellow Sierra Leoneans living below $1 or $2 a day. So our approach was to actually use partly locally sourced, and get other materials from abroad, and then have an engagement with community authorities, the community leadership, and the government through the Environmental Protection Agency, to have a dialogue about how can we actually implement this project in communities that need the energy solution. So we had a dialogue. We are in community knows how we can actually implement the solution without having an issue, a problem that will actually
so you kind of like consider different multiple stakeholders, you know, in kind of like finding a decision for your company to move forward, no?
Yes.
That's really good. That's really inspiring. And indeed, I think that's really a correct approach, how you consider multiple stakeholders in kind of like defining value to set up your business model. That's really inspiring. And that's really a correct approach. You must find it helpful, yeah?
Yeah, it's very helpful because it's easier for us to implement our project. And then we are confident that we are not just coming as a startup company to just solve a problem without, first of all, having these stakeholders involved in the implementation.
Yeah, it's always more comprehensive. Thank you so much for sharing, Mohammed.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I saw Adugna also raised his hand. So Adugna, floor is yours now.
Sure. Maybe mine is not the question, but you know, to add some pointers with regard to sustainability. I understand, you know, sustainability in general, making the development in a broader term, not at the expense of the next generation. That is the economics definition of sustainable economic development. You know, with for instance, when it is customized in these three terms, in terms of economic, environmental, social, for instance, in terms of the economic aspect of a given business, the business should not incur losses, rather it has to sustainably generate profits. And in terms of the environment, we have to do the business not at the expense of the by worsening the environment, you know, rather by even by not accommodating the environment, rather by keeping, you know, by maybe making our business sustainable in a manner that by following, you know, smart way of doing business. Which is maybe in terms of agriculture, in my business, for instance, my business solution is, you know, climate smart seed production. I put that climate smart because of the activities that I am implementing within that farming, like intercropping, crop rotation, drip irrigation are in place. And in terms of social, we have to, I think, create, you know, employment opportunities in terms of job creation for citizens in a sustainable manner. That is, I understand the value in terms of sustainability. So, yeah, with regard to multiple stakeholders, I think we have to have put into place, you know, clients, customers, suppliers, who are our stakes in general. Yeah, they have to be in a place.
That's really great. And I think, you know, it's kind of like help also to organize, no? By kind of like considering multiple stakeholders. And thank you so much, because I think, you know, your kind of like feedback, it kind of like already explained my next slide, so which I can probably jump. So yeah, I think the next slide is indeed about after you consider multiple stakeholders, then you can also think or organize this different value in your business operation about, you know, you kind of like form multiple forms of value. As you know, I think Adugna like indirectly kind of like explained about profit. It's more like economically sustainable business. To achieve economically sustainable business, people socially sustainable business, you know, like your, for instance, all of your employees, you're secured in terms of health guarantee, or like, you know, like in terms of their security during work, for instance. And then planet, environmentally sustainable business. I've heard from my colleague Claire and her team that you guys already, like, you know, like your top 40, in this kind of like Ecopreneurship Awards, which I think that's why I'm so excited, very grateful, and feeling very privileged to be here to discuss with you about the concept of value, because I think you are all the selected ones. You are not like ordinary companies, but you're already like outstanding in the way you kind of like environmentally, like run your business to make sure that the planet is well protected. So well done and congrats again. Let me now go to the next one. So business as part of a system, understanding how the business fits into the wider system. So I believe, as I mentioned also about that, you are selected companies that have already applied this, how you already think before you kind of like define or design the way you want to run your business. You already set your business model in a sense that you realize that you are part of a wider system. We can call it the wider system as part of the community. We can also call it that the wider system is the planet. You are part of it. The way you run your business, you are part of the planet. You are part of this big whole ecosystem that has no border, that knows no border. And then it's really also we need to kind of like see, taking a long-term view of the business. So I think you guys already applied your business as part of a system. You realize about this, or maybe you get inspired because you are part of a system and you want to make a difference. You want to influence the society through your business operation. So yeah, I'm very excited to know more about each of you. And now maybe we can go to the next slides. This is very important. So this, I refer this into like the Cambridge business model. So I participated in this kind of like 1 year like, like part-time study with the Cambridge University. So very excited to also share this. Of course, it's kind of like different. I mean, like that I need to deliver this content into one session, like 1 hour session, vis-a-vis, like a 1 year program. But I tried my best, and you will all have these slides with you. This is like the kind of like why it's important to think about value, the structured approach to value, how you organize these different value related to environment, related to social, and related to economic. So there are 3 different value. The first one is value capture, and the second one is value uncaptured, and the last one is value opportunity. You can see there, I think, I hope that you can, if myself, I have small eyes, so you can try to make your eyes bigger to kind of like see this diagram. So value captured is basically the benefits delivered to these multiple stakeholders, either or not related to monetary profit. So it could be improve energy efficiency, so you can pay less, for instance. It could be that, so value that is already captured. You know that this is an opportunity, or maybe you know that this is a damage for your company, but you already captured this value. You realize already, you keep it with you, you already applied. That's value captured. Value uncaptured is the opposite of value captured. It's basically the value that you are not able yet. I emphasis on the word yet, because I hope that after this training, it can be switched into value opportunity, and you can capture them and you turn it into value capture. So value uncaptured is a value that you are not yet able to capture them. So there are 4 different types, or at least here we try to organize this value uncaptured into 4 categories. The first one is value missed, value destroyed, value surplus, and value absence. You have like, okay, let me just mention it one by one, because this is kind of like, the core of our session today, this discussion. Value missed is value currently squandered, inadequately captured, or lost. So for instance, not using specialist knowledge, inefficient use of data. So the value, they are already around you, but you have not used them. because you are not yet able to capture them. For instance, you already have specialist knowledge in your company, but you haven't used that person well to operate for your company. You already have data, or at least you know source of data. For instance, ITC has a lot of market intelligence data, they are there, but you're not yet able to use those data. Or if the data is important, if the data is not important, who cares of ITC market intelligence data? I don't care, it's not applicable to my company. But if they are relevant, it's inefficient because you haven't used those data that are available online, for instance. And then we go to the next one, value destroyed. Value destroyed, negative outcome of current business, for instance, pollution, bad working condition. Value destroyed is basically value uncaptured. Of course, you're not capturing because you know that this value destroyed is something the negative outcome of current business. So you know that your business has a negative effect to the environment or to the people that work for you. So bad working conditions, pollution, we call it as value destroyed, as part of value uncaptured. And the next one is value surplus, redundant value which is larger than the requirements. So overcapacity of labor, excess functionality. This is like the example. And the last one is value absence. So value absence is value which is required but has not been created. So it's required but not yet created. For instance, lack of skills, lack of warehouse space, unmet customer needs. I think the idea to break value uncaptured into 4 categories to help you to think more comprehensively about what you are currently have in your business operation and how to help you organize them. And then the next one, this is the aim, is to turn value uncaptured into value opportunities, the new opportunities of additional value creation through new activities and relationship. For instance, the opportunity to utilize identified ways. So let me go to the next, maybe there is, this is just like an example of, value capture, I give and get a return. Value miss, I give but don't get the return. Value destroyed, I give but you don't want. Value surplus, I have too much. Value absence, you want but I don't give. Value opportunity, I discover new value. So this is just like, kind of like a clue that help you to organize a bit. Like value miss, I give but don't get a return because you still miss them. Value destroyed, I give but you don't want. Value surplus, I have too much. Yeah, but maybe if it's a bit like confusing, we can just go to the next one. So this is just an example about about organizing value from different angle, but I think the essence is all here. Yeah, so this is just a different example, and this is like what we are going to encourage you to do is sustainable business innovation through the lens of value uncaptured. Sustainable business innovation through the lens of value uncaptured. As you know, you already have value that you already captured and you applied in your business operation at the moment. How you think about environment in your company, how you think about social protection for the employee and etc., employee well-being and etc. That's value that you already captured. And then what we are going to do this exercise is how you're able to identify and to organize the value uncaptured. This is current business model. And then by looking at this value uncaptured, you are trying to design a new business model. So for instance, here, the value uncaptured, we divide them into 4. And then we are trying to, after you are able to identify what are the value missed, value destroyed, value surplus, and value absence in your company, you try to turn them into value uncaptured. You turn to turn value uncaptured into value opportunities, and then you turn value opportunities into a new business model. So this is the process. I don't know whether this is maybe a bit confusing, but how basically you try again to explore, to see, to organize values that exist around you, to organize what are actually the value uncaptured that I have in my company, and how I turn it into value opportunity, why it can be an opportunity, and then using this, you created a new business model. Yeah, so I think we are going to do like breakout sessions. I don't know, Claire, do you know how many are we in total? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So there are 10 participants in total. So maybe we can do 2 rooms.
Not without ITC, yeah?
Yeah. So we can do 5 participants in each room.
Yeah.
Oh, someone just left. So now we are 9. Someone just dropped off. So
okay. Yeah, so maybe we can do the breakout sessions, but before the breakout sessions, I already shared with you, you know, like this value, you know, I already shared with you this this diagram. Maybe you know, like instead of working on this, but maybe we can kind of like, yeah, maybe discuss per group, because we will only have 2 groups, so we can discuss and then we can see, you know, like how you think about this new value. Maybe I think the first exercise will be to be able to identify the value uncaptured in your company. What are the value missed, value destroyed, value surplus, and value absence? And then we can see here, and then we can do this maybe like a bit later, but I think what we can do is like, now we break into 5-5. I will share with you the definition of value missed, destroyed, surplus, and absence. It would be great if you can do this exercise, think about your current business model, about the type of values that you have already embedded in your company, and try to identify what are the value uncaptured. And then we can discuss with the group. Yeah, maybe that's, oh, sorry.
that works. So I will put you in one room,
yeah.
And Sharika in the other.
Yeah, sure. I will, yeah, okay. I will stop sharing, and then I will send you the definition of value uncaptured, and I will come back and forth to different sessions. So see you soon. I don't know, but yeah, maybe we can, I will come back again to my screen that discuss about value, and then, yeah, can you see this snipping? Maybe maybe I shared another one that is maybe in the presentation. And then I'm going to invite you to have a discussion about this value uncaptured. Okay, I'm too used with Microsoft Teams than Zoom actually, but yeah. Okay, so this is like about, yeah. So here again, this is again like the idea of here is to invite everybody. You have already captured very good value for your company. You already include environment, have environment in mind. You name your company that is, you know, like sustainable company A or B, and you get like the top 40 finalists in this award competition. So it's very, you're a selected company, it's very outstanding. You have already captured different value that are well value. You already put it into your business model. Now, this exercise again is to invite you to think about what are those values that exist around you, but you're not yet able to capture them. So without further ado, maybe let me invite anyone who wants to share a little bit about what are the value uncaptured, an example of value uncaptured from your company. Anyone would like to take the floor? I know if you are too confident, you will say, no, I don't have any value uncaptured, because I think I'm always able to change this value uncaptured into value captured and create a new business model. But maybe let me invite anyone.
Can I have a question, ma'am?
Yes, sure, Linus.
Is finance part of value uncaptured?
Yeah, could be. It could be. It's access to finance.
Access to finance, yeah.
It's you can say it's a value absence. It's required, but has not been created, or you have not been able to capture it. So it's value absence. It could be value.
Yeah, because for example,
value miss. It could be value miss, Linus. For instance, you know that you might have access to finance from one stakeholder, but then you have not follow up. That's value miss. But if you don't know where to access, that's value absence. And that's part of value uncaptured.
Okay.
Maybe you have not captured a particular stakeholders that could enable you to access those finance.
Okay, one more question.
Try to organize it this way, because you can really think comprehensively what are still not yet captured in my company, for instance. Maybe in relation to finance, you might think that if I get this finance, I could really like contribute to the environment even bigger. Then there is like a missing value as well about environment.
One more question, ma'am. Is access to market also part of value uncaptured?
Yes, of course. Any value can be value uncaptured. The idea of why I invite you to think about value uncaptured, because there are huge potential that one otherwise will not think about that. They always focus on value captured in their company. They always capture, my company is already like very, very well. We captured environment, we captured social protection, and etc. But then one can forget about things that come from different stakeholders. So that's why I invite you to think about whether or not you have already include widened stakeholder group when you set up a business model, because each of example here, this is just an example, so the list can go further and further, can be financial institution and etc. Like you have to include them, these multiple stakeholders, into your consideration when you set up a business model, a sustainable business model. And then here it's like this value uncaptured lens will let you to think about what are actually missing opportunity that your company should actually able to capture them, to hold them as opportunity. But you don't think about that, because normally people are too focused on the captured value in their company without thinking of what are other value uncaptured, that otherwise if I capture this value uncaptured, you can turn them into value opportunity and create a new business model for your company. So this is like, just maybe this is already like normal, it just like the terminology is not familiar for you, but I think this exercise will enable you, or at least help you to think about different methods to organize what are those uncaptured value and how it will be helpful for me to redesign a new business model for your company. Okay, I'm so excited because I received some questions here. Yes, Chance, I give you the floor.
Thank you so much. I think this is something that most of us already know, but just wanted to highlight it, the importance of customer research and user needs analysis, because your client is always the best person who actually knows where their pain points are and where they can additionally use your services, to such an extent that if you are, for example, offering them a platform for market access to sell their product, they know what else they actually need in addition to sell their product. Therefore, your customer becomes the stakeholder that has like potential to drive you into new areas to capture new value, because they understand their problems much better and the gaps in the market and what is already out there and what is or not, what is not solving their product. So yeah, your customer is always the best person who can actually guide you in terms of where you actually need to be focusing. For example, like you can start with the marketplace and then you discover that clients are more concerned about dealing with regulators and in conversations with regulators. They want some kind of access to decision makers and regulators. They can point you in a direction that you are actually not looking at.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chance. I think it's really a good example. Yeah, what you are mentioning is a good example. You're presenting an example, right, instead of a question. Yeah, it's really a good example that through this exercise, you're able to kind of like realize of the value uncaptured that at the moment you're not yet able to capture in your company, no?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Mohammed, I give you the floor now. Thank you so much, Chance.
Mohammed, I give you the floor. Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to bring to the notice of all, I wanted to share my own experience. Value uncaptured, I see it as something like, for my own business, yeah, we've powered over 20 communities with green energy solutions, waste to energy, and then it has saved them a lot, especially on their. It has improved livelihood, especially now with energy. Now they'll be able to do businesses and increase on their revenues, and then it has actually improved even on the environment. But value uncaptured for me was that I've not been able to compare, let's say, for example, what it should have cost to power these communities instead of using my waste to energy solutions. If these 10 communities should have spent $200,000 or maybe $300,000, and then they should have been using fossil fuel generators, let's say generators wherein they need to buy fuel, they should have polluted and polluted or contributed an X quantity of CO2 into the atmosphere. So I see these are values that I've not been able to capture. To see that with my intervention, we've been able to save this community from polluting the environment, and then saving them from releasing over 2 tons or 3 tons of CO2 in the environment. So I think that is missing in my business, to be able to compare these values that I'm adding to this community.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. I'm very happy that you are able to identify one of value miss in your company. I mean, I think, we need, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it is so unfair to ask you to think about, like value uncaptured in just like 5 or 10 minutes time. It's really unfair, because normally you need like at least a day to think of this, so then you can present many different examples. So I believe that there are many more as you reflect longer. So yeah, maybe the last one before I'm going to my final question, I will take Adugna to the floor. So Adugna, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Christy, really it is a great presentation and discussion that we have in teamwork. To my understanding, the value missed as per my companies, we have been thinking of adding value or making the product that we have in place processed and to join the export market. But we are unable to do that for a very long period of time because of bureaucratic hurdles and so many factors behind. So this is the value missed when it is customized into my company. So that is the point, that I am always thinking of, you know, to realize that and to join really the foreign markets.
Thank you very much, Adugna, for sharing with us the example of value miss, one of the value miss in your company. And yeah, I think because of time limitation, sorry that the session is longer than is scheduled. Actually, it was initially like allocated for 1.5 hours, and I was too ambitious. I said no, 1 hour should be enough, but it's okay. In fact, we need like 1.5 hours. Can you see my presentation, or you can see my presentation? Yeah. So so let me now oh, sorry, let me just yeah, sorry, because I want to show you slide. I think this one. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as before, Adugna mentioned about a sample of value miss, and also Chance and Mohammed also already presented to us that they are able to identify an example of value miss in their existing value in their business model. The idea is what Adugna mentioned in when he shared is basically he already realized also how to turn that value uncaptured, in this case value miss, into value opportunity. And then when you try to capture it into, it's already, once you capture them, this value becomes value opportunity, and then this value opportunity will allow you to create a new business model that take into consideration this value opportunity. So how you turn from uncaptured value into value opportunity, and you rethink or you redesign your business model considering those value that before it was not captured. So this is kind of like the idea. I shared with you, I will share the presentation after this, but then I shared also with you this kind of like diagram, which unfortunately, I mean, if we want to run this diagram, I think we need to request to Claire to get us the second session. But I mean, it's all up to you. I mean, like, so I already shared with you this diagram. Maybe you will find it helpful that you can apply it in your company with or without additional session. So this is like the diagram that I shared with you. And then there are like steps also how to put this diagram into, you know, like how you can do this exercise to your company. And then this is just an example that you can learn from the presentation that we are going to share with you. There are like additional resources as well that you can find it helpful, which you can access to understand better about the concept of value uncaptured if you want to continue this exercise, and also my contact details. I really hope that if you have any questions, you can address to my email address, or, you know, I hope that I can get connected with you through Twitter. This is my Twitter account. So then, you know, it's always exciting to kind of like share news, especially with you as outstanding companies all across the world. I'm very much excited to learn more about your business model, how you embed environment into your business model. And I hope that the exercise about value uncaptured will enable you to create a new business model, a better one that consider different, you know, like stakeholders here. Yeah, that considers different stakeholders, and how you try to also include environment as, you know, an important stakeholders in your company. So yeah, I mean, before we close the session, maybe I can invite you to put some question. I know that this is really like still at the surface because of time limitation. Happy to organize the second session if needed. Otherwise, feel free to contact me, and I'm opening to questions, and yeah, so this value uncaptured, how to create new business model, embedding more sustainability into your business model, has been applied to many countries and many companies. I hope that this kind of like way to redesign, to reflect, to learn from this approach will benefit you to kind of like capture more uncaptured value and turn them into value opportunities. Open the floor to all of you who wants to raise questions. And yeah, before we take group photo.
And just as I said in the chat, if anyone feels more comfortable writing their question, feel free to do it that way as well. Yeah.
And last but not least, maybe I want you to also join this. So just to know about what do you think about our session today. So you can either, like, use the barcode or join slido.com and write the number below to respond to this question. There will be no name here, so feel free to put any idea that you have. So anyone who wants to, what do you think about our session today? What I know that we need more time to do more exercise. And also at the same time, if any question, please. Anyone? Sorry if it's Claire, you will share the recording as well, right?
Yes, exactly. I'll share the recording and I'll also share the slide deck with everyone after this session, as well as the link to our upcoming session.
Great. So yeah, so okay, so anyone
getting some positive feedback.
Okay, it's just like yeah, feel free to continue. Yeah, so okay, so yeah, I think now I just want to ask if you have any question before we close this session. But I hope that this value uncaptured approach will help you to redesign your current business model and to embed more sustainability aspect for your company. And actually, if we have session B, we will have more opportunity to discuss and also to, to kind of like learn more from you, to have more group discussion, to do this exercise. But again, I think it will all depend on you and also Claire, who is organizing this from ITC Youth and Trade Program. Yeah, in collaboration with ITC Green to Compete program. Yeah, any question from your side? But yeah, feel free to send me an email if you have any question, or if you're already able to identify different value uncaptured and you are not sure. You can just email me and I tried my best to respond to you and to give my feedback on how you think about this value uncaptured. Yeah, I think, do we have any questions?
So far, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, if not, then I'm inviting you all to turn on your camera and we will make a group photo.
Yes.
Do we have everybody?
Andy, Jacob, Melanie.
Yeah, if you're there, we'd love to see your face. It's always nice to see people's faces. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe they're not available.
Okay, maybe just those who can, maybe we can take a group photo. Okay, who will capture it? I can do it as well.
I can do it as well. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, are you all ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Smile, everyone. Yeah. Thank you very much. And so I hope to stay in touch either via Twitter or via email. So then, we can always get it updated to each other. If you have any question about value uncaptured, Jacob, now you're here. So we don't want to miss you. We don't want to uncapture you. So
please,
everyone,
it's very
Isra,
noisy.
do you want to turn on your camera again so then we can have you also?
Yes, but where I am is very noisy.
Yeah, no problem. Isra, do you mind to turn on your camera again, Isra? So then we can capture. Okay, let's redo it again. 1, 2, 3, smile. Sorry, Muri Moga, can you look at the camera? No, we don't have one. We missed one. Muri Moga, hello.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's do it again. Okay,
I have been
1, 2, 3, smile. Yeah, we get one, but we missed the other one. That's life.
That's okay. Well, I just want to wrap up by saying thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Christie, for being here with us on this session. We'll definitely see about scheduling in a follow-up session because I think going through in more detail over the different steps that you've mentioned would be really helpful. Sorry, Jacob, you wanted to jump in? Oh, okay, you're muted now again. Okay, so I just want to say thanks everyone for joining. We've shared in the chat about the next session, which will be on the 22nd of February from 2 to 3 p.m. GMT +1. So please check what that is in your local time zone. I've also shared in the chat the link, but I will send you all a calendar update. So as mentioned, this one is about end-to-end sustainability experience and the inspirational journey for consumer goods and retail companies. And it will be with Accenture Italy. So please join in that session. And yeah, we really appreciate you all taking the time to be here for this session today and for all of your inputs and for being so engaged. And we will definitely let you know as soon as we get a time locked down with Michelle about a follow-up session. And we look forward to seeing you all there for that one. So with that, thanks everyone, and have a great rest of your afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you're calling in from today.
Thank you so much. I hope you learn to earn. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.